Hi all, Simon Pimenta here. I came across a quote I really like. To find yourself, think for yourself. So I want to talk about three areas where it might be useful to think about that quote based on the work that I've done with clients. So the first area is medication. When I speak to clients, some say that their doctor prescribed medication, they took the medication and it resulted in side effects which made them feel worse. And when I ask them the question, did you check the side effects? Did you look at alternatives? They often say no. I've had some clients who have been on a number of medications, and one of the medications, the side effect, is the very issue that they're trying to address. I remember one client who was experiencing anxiety, so she took something and it resulted in restless legs. Her legs would literally shake, and that resulted in more anxiety. I've had other clients who've said they were put on benzodiazepines and they had to come off those drugs because of the side effects. And the withdrawal effects lasted a long time. There is a group called Benzo Buddies for people who are dealing with those side effects. So there are many examples of that. So it's really important just to do your homework. Dr. Sarah Myhill says that she's careful about prescribing medication, as when the body isn't working, it doesn't tolerate medication so well. And it's also worth talking to pharmacists. They tend to know more about the pharmacology of drugs than doctors, according to a chief pharmacist I once spoke to. So use your judgment. Of course, there are times when medication is life-saving, and if you are on medication, you should always discuss any changes with your doctor. But for example, when I had MECFS, I was offered Prozac when I went to the King's unit run by Professor Simon Wesley, and I knew that that wasn't a solution. I needed to understand what was going on, what were the root causes of my issues. So the second area is about advice. People who haven't got the condition are often very willing to share advice, even when they're not asked. And some clients have told me they were working with a practitioner and the practitioner gave them some advice and they just didn't feel certain about it. For instance, some people have been told, you've done this training, brain training, so now just behave like a normal, healthy person. So they try and do what they were doing at the level they were doing when they were well, going running, going swimming, pushing themselves, and they crash. And when I ask, what do you think you should have done? Their answer is normally, actually 99.9% of the time, sensible. And I say, it sounds like you were in tune with what you needed, but you just didn't listen to that. So if you are being given unsolicited advice, some of the things that clients we talk about is saying things like, thanks for your advice, I will consider it. With my dad, bless him, I had to set him a boundary. I had to say, look, we've talked about this before. It's not really got us anywhere, so I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I also think it's really important to question received wisdom. When I had ME/CFS, fibromyalgia, in the early stages, people were saying to me, people don't recover. A friend of mine was told by her doctor, you're not going to recover. You might as well find yourself a nice man who's going to look after you. But she wasn't prepared to accept that. And she did find a nice man, but that was after she recovered fully. And I also heard only a small percentage of people recover. Well, my brain went to the notion of, okay, if someone has recovered, I want to be one of those people. What do I need to do? What did they do that helped them? What can I do? Okay, so I'm not saying that there aren't factors that make this more challenging. I recognise that if you're a mother of children, if you've got kids, then it's more challenging than if you're a single person without those obligations. And yet, even during current times, I've worked with clients who are dealing with children being at home, and they've recognised that there are some things that they can do to just take better care of themselves to just manage the challenging situation more effectively. And I've trained a wide variety of people with a wide range of circumstances, people with limited financial resources and limited support networks, people who've experienced trauma and abuse, who've been able to make positive steps forward, and people in those situations have recovered. I remember working with a young woman who was in her national team for a certain sport, and she had to give it up because of the chronic fatigue, ME. She had a dysfunctional family situation. Her mother was very unsupportive and negative. And when she went home, and she was a young woman in her teens, she said, look, either you need to change your behaviour or I'm moving out. She set very clear boundaries, and happily she did recover. She did go back to training again. She sent me a lovely email telling me all that she'd achieved. So I've talked about these three areas which may be useful to help someone steer their path, to help them navigate the condition. Why is this important? Well, consider, is it useful to tune in to what is right for us? Number 2, to act on that. And number 3, reinforcing those pathways so that those behaviours become easy and automatic, whether it's doing what feels right for us, setting boundaries with others. So, if you've got any questions about that, do post a comment below, do tag me. Each week I do a free half-hour session. There's no obligation to become a client, and in that session we do 4 things. We identify your goals. We identify what's working and what's not working. We identify the sticking points, what you think's getting in the way, and I'll probably identify some things that you may not have thought of. And then we'll identify 3 simple strategies to help you move forward. If you'd like one of those free sessions, do tag me below with the word strategy and I will send you the details. Thanks for watching. Wishing you great health. Bye for now.